Hey everybody! Welcome to ABA Inside Track, the podcast that's like reading in your car, but safer. I'm your host, Robert Perry Cruz, and with me as always are these fabulous co-hosts.
Hey, it's Diana.
And it's Jackie.
This is our episode 35 preview episode, wherein we tell you what articles from the field of behavior analysis will be discussed at length on our full-length episode coming out next week.
In the future.
Our topic is going to be response, interruption, and redirection.
Rurd.
Rurd.
Just kidding.
And we will be having a very special guest, Dr. Bill Ahearn, who will be coming in to talk about his research.
I've always said Ahearn.
I say Ahearn.
Should I have said Ahearn?
I think so. But I don't think he cares. But I think it might be Ahearn.
That's what I've never really minded. I mean, I've met him enough times now that I just call him Bill. So,
Yeah.
it doesn't come up as much as it might have.
I think it's Ahearn.
Ahearn.
Yeah.
Dr. Bill Ahearn. Whoops.
It's okay.
If
It's
you
fine.
live in New England, you probably know who he is, especially if you have your license in behavior analysis. If you're anywhere else
If
in
you
the
don't,
country,
you should thank him.
Yes,
He did all that work.
Yeah.
he did all
he-
that. So you should know him if you're in this area. If you're outside this area, you probably should still know him, as he has published a ton in the areas of feeding and in response, interruption, and redirection. So we'll be talking
automatic reinforcement,
about automatic reinforcement.
generally. Yeah.
We'll be talking about two articles, and they are the seminal Assessing and Treating Vocal Stereotypy in Children with Autism by Ahearn, Clark, MacDonald, and Chung from the Journal of Applied Behavior Analysis, 2007. And we'll be talking about the effects of verbal operant training and response, interruption, and redirection on appropriate and inappropriate vocalizations by Ahearn, Clark, and Masalsky from the Journal of Applied Behavior Analysis, 2012. As well as some other fun tidbits that I'm sure we'll be reviewing as well, but some of them are not available. So
I'm going to help you with Jessica's last name. It's Masalsky.
Masalsky,
Yeah.
it says Masalsky right here.
Oh, well.
Masalsky.
Okay.
If it's Masalsky, that's certainly fine. It's just that's phonetically.
Oh.
There's no way to figure that out.
Maybe I'm
sorry.
wrong, but I'm friends with her. But her last name is no longer that last name. Now it's Roher. Jessica Roher.
Yeah, I can't be expected to both pronounce words that are not phonetically spelled and know married people's new last names
Yeah.
just from the article.
That's
it's
true.
much too hard.
That's true.
I can't. I'm not that good.
You are
It's
that
okay.
good, though.
Thank you. Not that good. Anyway, those are our articles, and
Yeah.
look forward to that. It's always fun when we have a guest. Sometimes we have guests, sometimes we don't have guests, but it's always nice when we've got someone else to come and share their thoughts on the research that they themselves were involved in.
Yeah, and this one is particularly interesting because we find out the history of how RIRD came about, and it's not at all what you would expect.
Yeah, it's good stuff.
It's like real cool.
RIRD can be tricky to understand from the literature and implement as well. So I think that this will be a good episode for anyone who's interested to learn more about it and how you might use it. You get a lot of good details.
Sure. Mm-hmm.
All right. So now that we have that all discussed, let's get into errata, the section in our podcast where we read emails or Facebook posts or share interesting information from the ABA Inside Track community, which is usually just us three, but sometimes other people join us too.
And we welcome you.
Yes. Please join our community. So Diana, you had an email that you wanted to share.
I was going to share an email. And this email was from listener Megan. Hi, Megan.
Hey, Meg. Maybe your name's not Meg in real life, but
It's Megan.
it's Megan.
Yeah.
Hey, Megan.
Hi, Megan. So she says, hi, all. She has been listening to varying episodes. I'm paraphrasing. And she wanted to talk specifically about our parent training episode, which was episode 19. It was parent training to decrease challenging behavior, which it turns out there's not a lot of research on. We found that out after we started planning for it.
In the middle of recording the podcast, we realized we
Like,
had
wait a
nothing
minute.
to talk about.
No.
We're out of material. No, so this is what she said. I especially liked your review of the Crone and Meta study. I would argue that teaching parents strategies to decrease challenging behavior is incredibly important. Oftentimes, BCBAs are called in to manage challenging behavior, and it may be the number one concern for parents. The results of this article were great, but my worry is that it was a very carefully controlled study conducted by BCBAs with great resources. I think every BCBA knows this ideal scenario almost never happens in the field. Oftentimes, parents are only available for a very short window of time, A lot of other things are going on in the home when parent training takes place, and some parents see ABA as the BCBA's job, and it's difficult to impress upon them the significant role they play. My question is, at what point does this become an ethical dilemma? The goal of ABA services is always to systematically fade out until natural contingencies control behavior, and without parent involvement, this is almost impossible. On the other hand, as BCBAs, we are always supposed to consider the family's wishes and serve them. Has anyone written about this topic before? I think for a new BCBA working in homes, it is difficult to figure out when to strongly suggest the parents become more involved in treatment and when to give them more time to come around.
Ooh.
Yes.
Good, Megan. So I'm going to agree with you that, yes, it is the behavior analyst's duty and responsibility to provide competent treatments, comprehensive treatments, regardless of if parents are involved initially. So if the goal is to decrease problem behavior, you decrease problem behavior, but the ultimate goal should be that the parent can implement the treatment so that you can fade out and appropriate behavior can come in contact with naturally occurring contingencies. So I think there, as long as your terminal goal is that you are going for it, Diana.
Try not to cough.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I looked at your glass. You're like, yeah. I think if long term, you have that in your mind that this is how I'm gonna fade this out, which is what you should always be doing with treatment anyway. Then I think you're striving toward an ethical treatment. What do you think?
I would agree. In a perfect scenario, we would have access to parents. They would be readily available and willing to participate in parent training, and we would successfully transition any behavior plan that we've created over to them. But as Megan stated, there are many other variables that are in place when working in homes that don't produce those ideal results or situations. I think it's important to consider the viability of your treatment when implemented in the home,
It's
considering
actually-
the other variables.
Yes, and that's actually an ethical code.
Yep.
It's identifying conditions that for treatment success and identifying conditions that will hinder implementation of treatment. Guideline 4.
Perfect. Thank you.
You're welcome.
So, keeping that into consideration, including parents in planning for behavior strategies that you're going to be using is important, and keeping them in the loop as far as changes that occur, and continuing to offer opportunities for parent training for them throughout the intervention are critical. And then, of course, if they are able and willing to participate, then making those opportunities available for them is appropriate. We can't guarantee that we're going to have access to the parents. So I think that ethically, as long as we're following those guidelines and providing those opportunities, then that is what we should be doing.
Right.
That was a great question.
That was a good question.
Yeah, thanks.
But I don't think anyone's written about that, no. So if you want to, go ahead.
Yeah, do it. The other email that I had, let me find it. It's real short. It doesn't have anything written here. It used to, and it used to be from Brooke. And recently we've had at least 2 listeners write in to us. I know Brooke and Andy both wrote in and asked.
There it is.
Oh, thanks. Cool. Thanks, Rob. Brooke had asked previously, do we have supervision CEs upcoming? And Andy had written in to ask the same question. And I had written them both back to say, guess what?
Yes.
We are going to, quite soon, have a supervision series available for downloading and listening.
3-part series.
Yes. So I guess I don't really need to read Brooke's email because that was the gist of it. But we plan to have that unfurled and ready for listening by
September-ish.
September. Our goal is to have September be supervision month because they both have S's in them.
Smart.
But
Smart and sassy.
also because we'll be doing something a little bit different than our article reviews, so we thought we'd give it a little more time to breathe. But our goal was to have a full 3 hours on supervision, We'll have more information. Probably our next preview episode will have
Yeah.
a little bit more detail as to what that's going to look like.
Right.
But look for those in September. But you should probably be listening and watching every single episode so you don't miss it. Don't miss a moment.
But this way you guys can plan ahead if you are looking for supervision CEs, that there will be some available from us pretty soon.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So thanks for asking, Brooke and Andy.
Yeah. I think that's all our errata for tonight.
Right.
Everyone at home, thanks so much for watching or listening to our preview episode. We'll be back with a new episode next week with Dr. Bill Ahearn. Please, in the meantime, find us online at abainsidetrack.com. We're on ABA Inside Track at Facebook and Twitter, and you can email us at abainsidetrack@gmail.com. All right, thanks so much for listening, watching. Thank you guys so much for being here.
Thank you.
You bet.
We'll be here next time with our special guest, but until then, keep responding. Bye.
Goodbye.